This next comic is a legend here at the Comedy Store. He's been here since 1976. He's got a syndicated article in over 100 newspapers in the country. He's one of our favorites, the very funny Mr. Argus Hamilton. Yay! Yeah, you can pull it out, or you could just lean forward.
Look,
yeah.
we're comics. We prefer it like this, right?
Yeah. However
right
you
in the face, we like.
Yeah.
It.
Argus,
That came out
this
wrong.
is how long and how many documentaries have you been in about the Comedy Store?
A lot,
Great
especially when back in the 1990s and late 80s when A&E had biography on all the time. Everybody made it,
Yeah.
were subject of biography. And they knew that I would be just like Sarah's intros with everybody and say nothing but wonderful things about them.
Yes.
And everybody wanted me to do their bios on biography. So I stole a lot of stage time. As a matter of fact, I barely knew Rodney Dangerfield. Barely knew him. I never even partied with him. But I read his
Argus,
I read
that's
his biography.
uncomfortable.
I read his biography. His autobiography,
Okay.
memorized it accidentally, and they asked me to do this biography
And you
special.
knew it in
I knew
out.
everything, and it just infuriated the New York comics that knew him and loved him and were family to him. I'm on 20 minutes of this hour-long show. Argus Hamilton, Anglo-Saxon from Oklahoma, expert on.
Amazing. And then, so you think, how many, because I feel like there have been a lot of people who have tried to do documentaries about the Comedy Store and have failed, but I've seen a couple episodes of this documentary, and it is by far one of, not just the greatest Comedy Store documentary, but one of the best documentaries I think I've ever seen.
I'm with you on that.
Well, we're lucky because a brilliant natural comic made a career change in the early 90s. This is how this all came about.
And why didn't you make a career change? No, I'm just kidding.
It would be like Sarah Tiana using her brilliant writing skills and they hiring her away to be a co-exec producer. Then she becomes an exec producer,
Right.
and then she's in the troposphere above us all.
She already is, Argus, just
but the point,
FYI.
but that we both know that's how
Yeah.
smart writers rise in this building,
Yes.
in this business, and
Right.
you're on the fast track. So what happened was that in late 1976, a 18-year-old teenager arrived from Detroit and planted himself on the left side of the Comedy Store Westwood with a few of his running buddies from high school that came out to help him move here.
Hilarious.
It was Mike Binder.
It's so funny.
And he was sitting right in front of the bar at the Comedy Store Westwood. I came off stage. He followed me to the back. He started talking, and he was going to be the next. He loved Robert Klein. He loved Woody Allen.
George Carlin.
Well, not so much Carlin then. But
okay.
He would learn to appreciate Carlin, but he would really latch on to Jay Leno as well.
Oh,
And so,
okay.
As the way he thought. Because comedy evolved from the 1950s to the 70s in this way. A lot of the great nightclub comics in the 70s, the bit comics led by Lenny Bruce. You see, back then you had the choice of watching Jack Parr on The Tonight Show or two late shows, two movies at late night. Okay.
Oh, wow,
So what
okay.
the comics would do in the 50s, was they would do entire parodies on 15-minute bits on a movie. The Prison Break.
Okay.
They would do this, and that would be so it got gradually tighter and tighter and tighter until Robert Klein would take it down to a 3-minute movie or bit, and then Leno would make it like a 60-second bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
And that's what Mike latched onto. He learned to think in movies and think in funny. Okay?
Right. You got here in 76?
I got here March of 76.
Okay.
And so the point is that Mike decided to go into producing and writing and directing in the early 90s. And he latched on with Spielberg over at Disney, and he went his way up and started directing movies. And he never lost his love of the Comedy Store.
Right.
He was very, very close to Mitzi and all of us. There was a family of us here at the Comedy Store, including our next guest, Alan Bursky.
Yeah, the great Alan Bursky.
And Alan's going to tell you about what the Comedy Store was really like from 1972
Don't I know
until
it.
I got
And
here in
he's gonna
'76.
tell us about the gas prices. It's a whole thing. I've talked to Alan quite a few times. I love me some Bursky. Shut up, Bursky. He can't even sit still. God forbid he waits a minute. That's his problem.
If you ever see the movie Damn Yankees, there's Mr. Applegate right there. I swear to God. He's still begging me to go back out and snort coke one more time.
I'll go with you.
Join the dark
At
side,
this
Argus.
point.
Come home, Argus. He's always going.
Argus, Argus, when did you start stand-up comedy?
I started at the University of Oklahoma, where I was Alpha Tau Omega, and I did stand-up every Thursday night. I hosted a show on Campus Corner. I had the column in the school newspaper all during the Watergate era. And I was sitting in the Alpha Tau Omega living room when I saw Alan Bursky's best friend, Freddie Prinze, go on The Tonight Show with Sammy Davis Jr. And they pulled him over, sat him down, and Alan started, and Freddie started talking about a new place on Sunset Boulevard called the Comedy Store. And I knew I wouldn't have to go to New York and freeze my ass off. I was so happy. I'm going to LA, more like me.
And then when
I
you
could go to church in Pasadena, be with my people. It was really, oh boy.
Is that where they keep your people in Pasadena?
Exactly. Yeah.
far away from Hollywood.
Just, you know.
So when
When I got here, let's see, Letterman and me and let's see, Letterman and me.
Yeah, that's all your
Keaton.
Classmates. Yeah.
No, they were like three Anglo-Saxons.
Oh, I see what you mean.
had
Would you put Michael Keaton in that?
Oh,
Is that what you're saying?
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, Scotch-Irish are honorary members.
do you remember your first set at the Comedy Store?
I sure do. I went up and my opening line was, I left Oklahoma where smoking pot is a federal crime. Traveled through Colorado where smoking pot is legal. Finally got to Los Angeles where it's mandatory.
Still funny.
Left the room open, and I learned the most important lesson you can learn that we all know. You open with a drug joke, you get them right on your side right away.
That's exactly
And I've been opening with a good drug joke ever since.
Now
I had one that didn't work that I always thought was funny, that I came out here with nothing but $300 and an MG midget. You know, I never forget those good old days, having money in a car.
Oh my God.
That's great. I like that, Jeff.
That's too smart for us, Mr.
We don't get that out here. Bring your combat.
Of course.
Let's go back. Go back. How about a cocaine joke, maybe?
I have brought you on stage probably hundreds of times.
And you
You're
set
one
up
of
the
my
crowd you so beautifully too.
Thank you. That's
Right?
very nice. It's an
What
honor
Sarah
from
does
you.
is- what Sarah does is she lets the crowd know how important the Comedy Store is on the intro. She
Right.
said Sarah always says
that,
this
too.
is the most important place in the world for stand-up comics, and you are here to see the very best tonight. And then and she just puts it right up on the tee, like as good as Johnny Carson ever did.
I love
She puts it
that.
right up there, and then the crowd is just ready to laugh.
They're so excited to see you.
It's class. pure
And
class.
rightfully so, because I think you are still so prolific as a comic. Like you still write more jokes than most of the comics here. I feel like your material is always like, I know that like you still have a lot of stuff about being from Oklahoma and like
Just to get
some
it
of
going.
your own standbys to get going. But like I feel like you are still so prolific and you write so many jokes. And
Just today,
Continually.
President Trump got a beautiful card at the hospital from Hillary Clinton. She said, "Stay positive."
what am I?
He'll be here all week, guys.
I
You see
mean,
the picture?
Well, CNN offered their best wishes and prayers to the virus.
Did you see the picture of Nurse Ratched with Hillary's face?
Oh
in
yeah,
it?
the new
so
nighttime
great.
nurse.
What room is Trump in?
one of
So
my
great.
favorite Argus Hamilton jokes, which I've told you earlier, is like when they legalized pot, or there's some kids down the street. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but they got arrested for having a bag of weed. The weed is legal, but you're not allowed to have a bag in Los Angeles. And then that joke was like right after they banned the bags, and then like a year later, like when straws were banned, he changed it to cocaine. And I was like, yes,
I loved it.
it's
I
the
love it.
great.
That's-
It's one of
He'll
my
keep a joke and work it.
Yeah.
cocaine.
every
As soon as we
way.
get to cocaine, we're at the height of it all. I was telling somebody, I think I was telling you just earlier. I'll tell her that you can just look at me, handsome Argus.
Very handsome.
And
very
just
handsome.
absolutely
Argus Hamilton.
guess how much fun I had in the late 70s before I got sober. Okay.
That's what I want to ask you about.
Yeah, because
my
cocaine was so white, the cops let it off with a warning.
Is this true that like when they brought you, and this is hearsay?
Yeah,
you can
I
correct
have a
me.
lot of rumors I want to talk
Okay,
about.
when they brought you to rehab,
Yeah.
I believe it was Alan Steven. This is
And
just
Ollie
one
Joe.
of the time, and Ollie Joe, and they asked who's checking in.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys were always.
They said they looked at him. They said, two, and they said, no. Wait till you see what's coming in. And Alan Steven always says, and here comes Argus walking in the door, looking like Jack Kennedy.
I mean, God bless. You still look amazing.
I know.
And you're sober. How many years now?
34 years in November.
Amazing.
But the funny part is that, see, Johnny Carson and my father and Mitzi got together. Okay.
Okay.
And Johnny said no more Tonight Show. Mitzi said no more Comedy Store. Daddy said no more money if I don't get willing and get well. And I got willing. Okay.
Oh.
And so it's been a great ride ever since. But the funniest thing that happened was we stopped off in downtown Palm Springs before going over to Rancho Mirage to the Betty Ford Center and drank schnapps and had ribs and all this. We got to Rancho Mirage, the richest suburb on the West Coast, okay?
Wow.
And just before getting to the center, I said, let's go to 7-Eleven. I said, one more six-pack, guys. And so we drove around Rancho Mirage for 45 minutes, couldn't find it. Alan Steven lost his temper. He said, we're taking you in. And they took us in. And so whenever I would go and do a Betty Ford reunion banquet, I would say, to this day, I don't know what's funnier, me thinking that another six-pack of beer was going to fix me, or me thinking there was a 7-Eleven in Rancho Mirage.
I was just going to say, like, wow.
What?
Real bougie 7-Eleven.
I heard that you and Sam Kinison got in a fight in the parking lot. Is that true?
No.
Wow, I can't imagine Argus being in a fight.
What happened was...
But just like from like they were all like...
No. It happened. It has to do with Alan Steven. This was in
He's such an instigator.
August of '82. Alan called me. Mitzi wasn't giving him time slots over at Westwood.
Okay.
And so he was getting up at 6 a.m. and making hamburgers and making like $1.40 an hour.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I said, I'll talk to Mitzi about that.
Sam or Alan? Sam.
No, Alan.
Oh, Alan.
This is Alan. Okay. And just then, I'm at the Comedy Store, and Robin happens to be there, and Falstaff Wild comes in. Falstaff dealt Coke on the side.
Okay, I like the first laughing because he remembers.
He sold me a gram. I split it with Robin up in the bathroom in the green room. We came out of there feeling like Mighty Mouse, ready to go. And Mitzi was just coming out, and she looked at my eyes. You could see nothing but cornea, so she always knew when I was high.
Jesus
And so
Christ,
she went straight to the car. She says, "You're
Argus.
high again, Argus. Damn it, high again. Why are you ever going to do this?" And so I followed her out to the car, and I was yelling at her, said, "Alan is having to work for making hamburgers at 6 a.m. because you won't give him time slot." And Sam came over and pulled me away from Mitzi's car.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean, because he thought you were going after Mitzi.
She was protecting me.
Yeah.
Protecting me from her. She'd have killed me.
Yeah, she would have. And then you would have lost all your spots. Argus is, I remember when I would help with the talent coordinator after Scott Day left, the great Scott Day. Remember Scott?
Yeah.
After he left, there was a little bit of a limbo, and we had Corey Como, Princess Corey, who came in, and she started doing it. But it was like they needed assistance, so I would always go up. Mitzi would put
I remember that.
Yeah, so they would put me upstairs, and they would be like, "Just put 9:15 Argus. Just already fill that in, and then we'll do the rest."
Is it true that she left you that spot in her will?
That's right. It's true. It should have had you on at 9, but you started working. You decided to move ahead of the class.
I know.
She's big time now.
Yeah.
Argus didn't ask for me to be 9 o'clock. He knows what's up.
Well, you were in Andrew Dice Clay's corner.
I needed to be at the far end. I get it.
Yeah, well,
I love the late
what
night
was
spots.
what
I
was
really
Andrew
do.
Dice Clay's influence on you, and how did he bring you along as a
Oh, we're
comic?
going to bring up my sex life? All right.
No, he was doing his sex life long before you came along.
That's so true.
You just improved him.
Look, he's terrific. He believed in me, and he took me out on the road very, very early. I got booed off the stage with him. That was awful.
But with his crowd, I'll bet that was
his
rough.
crowd. And I was only 3 months in, so.
And you're at the mercy of those nursery rhyme crowds.
Yeah, in New York.
When they ask you to leave, did they go, go? Go! Okay.
I did a joke one time. I forgot. I think we were in Minnesota, and I was mad at him, so I came out and then I go. I think I said something along the lines of like, people ask like why we broke up. You guys are so good together, so good together. I'm like, he does this thing. It's kind of weird. Like when he comes, he's like, and he got so mad at me.
Really?
And
you made him sound like he's dying in bed.
Yeah. I go, it's weird because then he like tries to strangle me with his fingerless gloves, and it just doesn't feel. But he didn't like it. He was like, "Hey, don't talk like
too
that."
real,
like,
too real.
I'm sorry.
It's too believable.
You know that scene in Vinyl where he gets beaten to
how
death
brilliant
while
was he in
Hurricane
that?
Smith's "Oh Babe, What Would You Say" is playing. That was the number
Unbelievable.
one song of the early '70s.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, the contrapuntal of that.
Now, did you ever do any acting? Because I know a lot of comics here like got into acting and stuff like that. Did you ever do any?
In the fall of '77, a bunch of us it became pretty obvious to guys like George Slaughter, the producer of Laugh-In, and to the producers of the Richard Pryor specials. There were a bunch of us really breaking out at Westwood, and so. Slaughter hired me to do the news on the new Laugh-In series in the fall of '77. They had all this talent, including Robin Williams, and they put it on against Monday Night Football.
Get out.
Oh, yeah.
Completely killed it. Okay? So what do they do? They drop the show, and 3 weeks later, they get Burt Sugarman, the great producer, and Carol Wayne's husband, and they have the Richard Pryor specials. Okay, and I mean, we are on 6 or 7 of them, all 6 of them, all of it.
Yeah.
We're all in these sketches, and it's just precious stuff. You can all Google Richard Pryor's NBC specials, and you can Google Robin Williams or me or anybody, and we're in these sketches. They're classic, written by Paul Mooney and all these great guys. Put him on against Monday Night Football.
New Monday Night Football, right?
It was one long season of Monday Night Football killed Robin Williams and Richard Pryor on NBC.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, it's the reason she switched. Open mic was always Monday night, and then the Monday Night Football was so big that she moved it to Sunday
night.
So that's why we always had Sundays for a while.
Right.
Then it switched to Sunday, Monday because we were so broke.
So busy. Oh yeah,
but what it also did was it killed a Sunday night for the young comics that were just made paid regulars, because that was a good family night to come out, and you had your most wholesome crowd of the week, paid crowd on Sunday night. But you know what? You got Alan Bursky's coming up. He's got a lot of stuff for you from 72 to 75.
He certainly does.
From what years?
What I want to say about the founding is that Mitzi always considered me good luck, and I was for her. And I was here 2 or 3 months. She made me paid regular, sent me over to Westwood, and I became her runner as well. So I was insulated.
That was a big deal to be her runner.
Yeah, it was, especially when she's redecorating.
I don't know what that means.
She's redecorating the main room, and you're running all over the town with her driver's license and her checkbook. And the punchline is, on her driver's license, she penciled out her birthday because that's none of their business.
Everywhere we went,
hell yeah,
I would have to be like, "What is that? I need your date of birth. Like we can't purchase anything without your date of birth. You don't need to know that."
Hilarious.
So anyway, on right about 2 weeks after the bicentennial, late July, she calls together Alan's parents, Herman and Helen Bursky, who helped her run things.
Yeah. They were managers
Adele
here.
Kabat, Phyllis, her accountant, Mooney, her boyfriend Steve Landsberg, me, Ollie Joe Prater, who ran Westwood, maybe Binder. No, Binder wasn't here yet. Anyway, we're all here on a Sunday afternoon, and she announces. I had to go to Gil Turner's and pick up the champagne for it. She announces that she's bought the building.
This building.
In 1976?
She got a balloon loan and bought the entire building out from under Art LeBeau, who was a huge disc jockey, 40 years here, who leased the main room. It was a Mexican rock and roll joint.
Yeah.
And she
But she
bought
didn't open the main room till like 78. Am I wrong, or 77?
What Mitzi wanted with the main room was this. She wanted
Yes.
her peers, Don Rickles, all those people.
She wanted the big guys.
She was Sammy Shore's wife, who was a big comic as well, and all these guys that were young and hot in the 50s and 60s. Mitzi wanted that main room for them.
Yeah.
The problem was, after she spent $60,000 redecorating it, none of them could play it, or agents wouldn't let them because they said it would hurt their Vegas draw, and that broke her heart.
Really
And
hurt
so,
her.
the summer of '78, Biff Maynard and I sat in the main room and
Oh,
talked her into
Biffy.
opening up the main room to her regular comics. Because as I was telling Sarah earlier, over at the Comedy Store Westwood, we were sending 150 to 200 people each weekend over to the Improv because we were too full.
Absolutely.
And so I said, why not use the main room? And she said, we would make it professional, and we don't do that. And so we finally talked her into it, and we talked her right into the strike when she backed away from the pay.
Right,
And
right,
that's another story.
That's a whole nother story.
But Alan Bursky has stuff for you from the very founding of the Comedy Store.
Wonderful.
That was me.
Do you owe him money or something? Why do you keep promoting him?
Well, because we're running out of time, and he'll kill me if he doesn't get enough attention.
running out of
Argus,
time?
you are a legend, and you're so
Seriously.
prolific, and it's always such an honor to even ask you a question, let alone 8 or 9. So really appreciate you coming on and being in the documentary, because you are such a fundamental part of this comedy store.
We'll have a lot of fun all the way through it. I want everybody to watch all 5 episodes.
You have
sure.
to. You have to watch all 5.
It's epic. If you believe in Iliad and the Odyssey, the Iliad leads up to the strike, and the Odyssey is coming home to now.
And I know you'll be watching
right.
them the next morning because it comes on after your bedtime. At the,
You've been holding this building up for quite some time.
I
Yeah.
love every minute of it.
And we love you,
I miss
Argus.
the audiences. I miss the
I
audience like
know.
a soldier overseas misses his wife. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Listen, when they shut this place down, I was worried about you most, because I'm like, who's Argus going to talk to?
Look, when I die, I want my ashes scattered over the main room, so the next time they close it down, it's over my dead body.
God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Well, you're
Argus
amazing,
Hamilton.
Argus Hamilton.
Thank you,
Thank
Argus.
you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate
Brilliant.
it.